open here, mate. Who wants to join? So one advantage we have with, hello everyone by the way, so one advantage we have with the way that I image is the files are automatically uploaded to OneDrive, so I cannot just grab them and copy them straight off onto the PC and process while it's still imaging. So I can do a partial process of whatever stack we've currently got, which always seems to work quite well. So let's have a quick look and see what we can see. Ooh, got a new version of Cyril. Yeah, let's download that. Let's get that latest version of Cyril. Okay, let's find our new version of, and let's try and do a little bit of processing on it. So first of all we want to stack it. we're going on. Really good guiding today, 0.8. Considering where we are, we're on the 24 degrees declination. Got a meridian flip in 54 minutes. So that should have, yeah, that's done that. Let's have a look, see what it's like an auto stretch. A little bit of a gradient, but not too bad. So let's do plate solve first. Give it a little bit of a crop, just get rid of any dithering artifacts on the outskirts. Let's give it a crop. And we've got two methods for background extraction, so we'll see what it looks like with this one first. I don't think that looks too bad, to be honest. So let's give it, should we give it a sharpen or a denoise? Let's go straight for a denoise. Pretty good. Let's do a colour calibration. So using an IMX294, because that's what we're using, the SvBony 405cc. We've got a UV IR block filter on the front of it. That looks good. Okay, time for a bit of a stretch. So what we can use is this Verilux Hypermatic. I'm sure everybody's seen this now on various YouTube channels. But if we put the live preview on and do an auto calc, that's what it comes out like with a stretch. That doesn't look too bad actually. Some green noise, what's that doing? Doesn't look too bad, does it? So let's have a look at star shapes, what do they look like? Got a little bit eggy in this corner. Oops. And a little bit eggy in this corner as well, so collimation's probably drifted out a little bit. So let's see if we can do something about that through software. So let's Skip back, turn the auto stretch off. So got the background extraction, let's do that. Colour calibration. Excellent. And then if we go to aberration remover, I think we're right on the model. So let's see what that's done to the corners. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good now. It's taken most of the egginess away from them. Same on the bottom left here as well. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for the girls we date, as we like to say. So let's try doing a denoise with Graxpert. Two still the latest, so we don't need to do anything about that because they're on the latest anyway. Let's apply that, let that run. Doesn't look terrible, does it? Doesn't look terrible. looks terrible. Hopefully we get some more of the wispy stuff as we get more data. I don't think that's bad looking M45 at the minute. Imaging still going well, still looking at 0.8 of an arc second and guiding, so that's doing really well. Pleased with that. Still using a PPIC algorithm. It's actually got the period length correctly now, because I had a period where it wasn't picking up the period length correctly, but it's now got it correct at 360 seconds, so that's looking better. And I think that's helped with the guiding figures as well. The signal to noise ratio with this camera and guide scope is crazy. 445, 430 is just absolutely ridiculous, in a good way. In an absolute good way. But yeah, we all look really good there. Moon's not out yet, so it's really dark round the back of my property, my house. Remember a while back as well, I had that. I bought that BT Omen battery, so that I wasn't leaving some room door open with a cable running out. And I had a couple of issues recently where it was lasting only like 2 hours when it should be lasting 10. So fingers crossed it's all okay, because I've done a couple of full battery cycles on it, and that seems to resolve things a little bit. So that's looking all right so far, but fingers crossed that'll continue for the rest of the night. Got meridian flip in 41 minutes. So the other big question is what we want to do in the future. So ideally, I want a new camera. I'm thinking of buying one of these very shortly. So we want an M45 based camera. So currently we're going to look at this one. I think I'm going to put an order in for this soon. Let the credit card take a bit of a hit, and we'll see how we get on when this arrives. I'm looking forward to one of these. We can look at field of view calculator. So currently we are on M45 Pleiades. We are using a Sky Watcher quattro 6" with the chroma corrector, giving us 580mm focal length, 150mm, and then camera. We've currently got an SvBony 405cc. This is what we're currently imaging with, and you can see there it fits in quite nicely. And what we want to get is an Ardsley Astro Hypercam 26C. So what's going to give us, it's a little bit wider view because it's 26 megapixel, but also the pixels themselves are small. So if we look at the IMX571, we've got a resolution of 1.5 arc seconds per pixel. If we flip back to the SvBony, we're at 1.884, so we just get a slightly finer resolution, which I think is going to be pretty good. So that's what we want to look at buying next. Probably going to try and order that this week, and see how we get on. I am looking at another telescope as well, but I'm only going to buy one thing at a time. But I do want a Mach 127, which is one of these bad boys. So it's 127mm aperture with 1500mm focal length, but it also comes with a 0.65 times reducer as well for doing astrophotography with as well. So what does that give us from a field of view point of view? Well, if I stick on the SV405cc and change to I don't think the 127 is on here yet. No, the 105 is. So what we can put the 105 and just quickly swap the details over. So it's 1500mm with 127mm aperture. Obviously everything else is still the same. We add that to the view, you can see how much smaller that view is, and then we can also add on a 0.65 reducer, I think it is. I think the closest is 0.63, and we can add that to view as well, and that gives us that. So it's going to be a lot more zoomed in, which will be great for things like if I change that to M1 Crab Nebula. You see the native focal length on that will get us in quite nicely. Let me pop off the that one and that one, and you'll see that's going to look a lot larger in that. And then with the hypercam, we're going to get that kind of view, and natively we'll get that view. So I quite like the look of that. Let's say we'll get the camera first, and then we'll worry about another scope later. But we really do want to get this APS-C size sensor with the IMX571. It's such a good sensor. Looking forward to that. Ooh, guidance improved even more. We're down to 0.56 arc seconds. You can see the collimations drifted out there. across the bottom there. So that's something to be aware of. I very rarely collimate this thing, and that's my bad. That one, I just don't spend the time on it. I've got a new spider for it, which I haven't put on yet because that will need to take the secondary mirror out and try and get that back into collimation. So I've kind of postponed doing that for now. We can look at doing that again at some point. "34 minutes to the meridian flip." Let's see what's going on in the Stargazer's Lounge. Huh. Interesting. Good still. 30 minutes until meridian flip. Come say hi, don't be afraid. I don't know how many people use Nina, but I always tend to use the advanced sequencer, and what I have is some templates which are all night longs. I call them all night long templates, just with the different sub exposure times. Basically each one is exactly the same, apart from it's got a different exposure time in here. But the advanced sequencer in Nina, to be honest, it's a lot more straightforward than you think. So the easiest thing to do is, under templates, you've got a basic sequence startup, a basic sequence for the target itself, which is obviously this one, and then you can have a basic sequence end as well, which will do things like the camera, part of scope, all that kind of stuff. So all these have only got this bit in with the actual target. They haven't got the cooling one on, because I normally cool the camera manually anyway. But then if I do want to add it into the sequence, I just add the basic sequence starts up, and that adds in the Cooled Camera and a couple of other ones, one for unparking the scope and one for just a bit of text so you can see what kind of stage you're in. When you target a template for the actual, so when you use a template for the actual target, you've got the target itself, which in this case is M45. That comes from the Framing Wizard. You've got exposure info, no filters. I can't remember what that is exactly, but then you've got a list of triggers and loop conditions and instructions. So what I have got is when it starts, it should slow and center, should start the guiding, and then it should run an autofocus, and then it does a sequential instruction set, which the instructions themselves is just one instruction, is to take a 60-second subframe, type like gain 140, offset of 8, binnings 1 by 1, and it will keep running this instruction until this runs, which strictly speaking should be nautical dawn, but we won't be leaving it out until 6:53 anyway, so it doesn't really matter in this case. And then we've got some triggers. So we've got the meridian flip, because we want it to do a meridian flip when the time is right. We've got dithering, and I've set this to just a dither after 20 exposures because we don't want too many dithers in there. And if the HFR increases by 5%, it will run an autofocus again. So if you look on the imaging, these little triangles here is where it's run a autofocus. So we've got all these subframes, then it ran an autofocus, and then we've got all these subframes again, and it will just monitor the HFR trend, and if it drifts above 5%, it will run another autofocus again. The autofocus is autofocuser still the Gemini one. That's working exceptionally well. I did have one issue with it, which was due to the time of year I was imaging. It was quite warm, and the camera would only get down to -5, so there was a bit more noise in the background of it. Excuse me. And I'm using the dual narrowband filter. So the dual narrowband filter, you get a lot less light through to the camera. So that was the only problem I had, and those were overcome, and it's never really failed on me again since. You can open up the autofocuser tab and you can see this was the last autofocus it did, hyperbolic bang on 1, and then you've got the list of all the autofocuses it's run throughout the time I've been using it. It's just absolutely excellent. But no issues really, no main issues. And I'm figuring out the time I did have an issue with figuring out what that actually was. So yeah, that's all pretty good. So what we can do, because we're using our OneDrive, we can see how many images we've copied over, ones that we haven't. So I'm pretty sure that from here below we haven't used yet, so we can copy those over into our lights. those two files. That's okay. Editor there. So that's what we got from our first set of subframes. So what we can do now is, if I just go to OSC processing again, I can quickly stack, restack. And this is the advantage of using cloud storage, because literally the images are being taken on the mini PC that's attached to the scope, and then I can just copy them, and then immediately get uploaded to the cloud. And once they're in the cloud, you can immediately access them on the PC. So I can run around and process them while it's while the PC's running. So if it's a bit jerky when I'm running this, it's because the PC is quite busy and I haven't got a separate PC to hook this up to. In fact, I could do that. Have to think about that for next time. Okay, let's have a look. So now we've got another image. Let's auto stretch that. Let's crop off any dithering. Let's do background removal. Colour. Oh, let's plate solve it first, haven't we? So we can run the colour calibration. Let's go straight for a denoise. And again, apologies if my face pauses. It's purely because it's using quite a lot of CPU power and graphics card power to do this. Got 20 minutes until a meridian flip. Denoising's finished, that looks pretty good. quite like the look of that. Let's see how it compares to my previous picture. Where's Nino? At the top. Where's M45? Yes, that was my original version of it, with me trying to do the colour balancing. See, the colour balance is completely wrong on that. Oh, that's interesting. Look how much neater the spikes are on this version, and I haven't changed the spider yet. That is interesting. So, let me just save that. Part process, save. Let's open my original M45. Yeah, the colour is just look a lot different, doesn't it? So let's let's just see what my original version looks like with you can see halos in the stars on this one quite dramatically. I was using the this is manually focused, and it's got the using the UHC filter. So if I change that to that one, I'm just going to very quickly run it through the exact same process I did with my new one. Finally, we have from 15 minutes till meridian flip. Guiding still looks very good. I'm going to turn autofocus after flip on, because ideally it could do with running an autofocus after it's done the flip. So we'll do an autofocus as well. Again, guiding still excellent. Let's close some of these. So that's a denoise. save this one as well. Let's put it in its original folder. So I'll save that as a just save it as a JPEG as well. Oh, I've saved that in the wrong folder, haven't we? Paste it in there so we're in the right folder. Well, I think the reprocess looks better. Yeah, cool, looks slightly differently, but then we've got a UHC filter, just an SvBony cheap UHC filter on this one, whereas this one has just got a UV-IR cut. So there's less of a halo around the stars. There's still a halo there, but there's less of a halo. It's interesting how the spikes have changed though, because they look a lot cleaner. Looking good though. So we're getting on. 11 minutes to the meridian flip. What we could also do, because everything's tied into OneDrive, we also get a current update of his guiding, although that needs to update itself, otherwise it's not going to show us a great deal that I don't like. Yeah, so that's showing us the first 3 minutes. So we'll wait for that to refresh itself at some stage. Meridian in 10 minutes. So flip time is between 20:57 and 21:02. So that's the 5-minute window that it allows for the meridian flip. So this will run about a degree past the meridian before it flips. This is running the Melee PC as well, and it barely uses any CPU at all, he says. But it's perfectly adequate for imaging. The CPU usage normally drops down to about 20%. I think it's just busy because when you first launch Task Manager, it tends to start using a little bit more. It all looks good. So what else have we got to do? So one thing I did purchase was this CYCK spider. So I have got is it this kit here. I didn't pay £72.39 for it though, but yeah, I've got this kit here, and this is the spider that I need to install, which I haven't yet. I've installed that plate, but I haven't installed any of these yet, which I have yet to do. But I will get around to that very shortly. Oh, that's for a 10-inch one, 250. Mine's only 150 millimeters. So yeah, it's the spiders the main thing that we want to have a look at. Yeah, spiders ultra thin, 2.2 millimeters for the spider vanes. For these ones. Now I think the backyard universe ones they're more expensive, but I'm pretty sure that the veins are thinner. But yeah, we've got that to install. Then what else can we do? Well, we could. There's a carbon fibre tube for the Quattro, which is £285. So that looks like a good option. I've been looking at other telescopes. If I was going to get another reflector, another Newtonian, I want one slightly bigger than 6 inch that we've got. So it'll be something like this one. I think would be the next purchase. It's already got a CNC spider on the front. It's already got the two mounting plates, Osmondy and the Vixen style. It's just the weight of it. The tube is 7.5 kilograms. So by the time I put the camera on, and the camera and the guide scope, everything else, it's might be pushing my Ioptron hem mount a little bit more than what we want. So I'm currently running a M15, which maximum payload is 8.2 kilograms. So I mean, it might just be touching the limit on it, but we will have to see. Now, an interesting thing, most people say the scene's never good enough to get sub arc-second guiding, and you know what does it actually mean? The thing I have noticed though is the tighter the guiding figures, the finer the HFR figure. So I think if you're guiding at 0.5 and it's giving you a better HFR figure, then it's definitely worth tinkering to get that finer guiding resolution. Yeah, so watch this subframe now. It's see if it will do 0.6665 for the entire 1 minute subframe, and we'll see what the HFR figure comes out as, but it should be slightly lower than the 2.12. It's just come out of an auto-focusing session as well, so we'll see what it does. It's very clear outside, very little wind as well. Yeah, 2.08. Another 2 exposures before the meridian flip. Hopefully that will go okay. I still think that's a good image. I know, you know, collimation hasn't been perfect and the stars are ever so slightly eggy in the corners, but does it matter that much? I suppose it's the thing about if you go for perfection or not, and at the end of the day, I just want a pleasing image and a pleasing picture. And that, to me, is still a very pleasing picture. Interesting, the time's wrong on my PC. So we're hitting the meridian now, so it's going to be another 5 minutes actually before that does a meridian flip. the time was wrong on my PC there. Let's correct that though. Yeah, there we can see that HVAR, when it was dropped below 0.6, we got down to 2.05, 2.06, then we have 2.02 there for the HVAR figures, so that's good. The moon's up now, so very soon the garden's going to get started being lit up by the moon. It's currently very, very dark down there at the minute. Does it say how much that? Does it say the weight of this camera? It does. Oh, delivery package weighs 5 kilograms, so it missed up 5 kilograms. So meridian flip time should be after this sub exposure, so we should be able to watch that happen. And I'll see if we can watch the scope spinning over from here. All I can see is the red light from the focuser, so let's see what happens. Oh, can see it moving. So that looks like it flipped okay, so it's just going to run an autofocus then a recenter. I would have thought it would have done a recenter first before it did the autofocus, but apparently not. It's obviously not centralized yet because it is incomplete. You can't see any of the stars that have Pleiades, so it must be out by a little way. We got updated PhD 2 log. No, still on 21k, so I'll have to wait for the session to finish before we can look at that properly. It's now going to re-slew to target again because it wasn't inside the tolerance. There we go. It's back in tolerance again. There we go. Imaging once again with a meridian flip. Feel free to drop a message in the chat if you have any questions or anything. That looks well. 2.08. So let's have a look at our session. A few more we can drop in here onto his image. So I'm going to restart this. Again, apologies if my face starts to stutter around, it's just processing this tends to use a lot of CPU power. So we've got another stack. This one is 7,800 seconds long. Again, we can quickly go through the process of a quick way of just processing, just to see what we're looking like. One of the reasons I'm using the auto background extraction script rather than Graxpert is that Graxpert at the minute seems to be leaving seems to leave like a border around it in places, and I don't like that, although that one itself doesn't look bad. So actually we'll go with that one. We will go with Graxpert this time. So it's plate solve again. We need to color calibrate again. UV IR block. That looks better. That's looking better. So these are coming a bit more fine tuned. Should we try sharpen first? Let's try sharpen. We haven't done this for a while. So this is just using cosmic clarity to sharpen the image. run it with both. Let's see what that comes out like. What do we think? Oops. I don't know. I don't know if I prefer the original. Yeah, I think I prefer it without the sharpening on it. Do you guys think? Sharpened or not sharpened? Let's see what happens. We've run it, so let's see what it does once we've run a denoise on it and everything else. Nearly there, 80%. Let's just use the Verilux stretch. What do you think? I think I prefer it the other way, to be honest. It's taking a little bit of the egginess out of the stars. So the one thing I haven't tried yet is, let's go back. So that's with the colour correction on. And let's look at So grasp it looks like deconvoluted. It's putting like funny colour artifacts on some of the stars, isn't it? I mean, that looks a bit strange. What does... Not that particularly did anything, did it? No, I don't think that did anything. So let's go straight for that. What's it look like if we don't deconvolute? Let's just do a denoise. What's imaging looking like? Guiding looks good again. So what happens with my setup? I have the setup so it'll sync in the pictures and the documents folder. Basically, it's not syncing the desktop. But anytime a document gets dumped into the appropriate folder for Nina, you can see M45. These are the sub exposures we're getting. These are the two I got with the Quattro. This is one I tried with the 750, and I think, yeah, the 2 minute long exposures there were a little bit too long. Those. I wonder what I took them with. Yeah, anytime it drops an image into here, it immediately gets uploaded into the OneDrive. So I can then just pick that off and then drop that into Cyril, and so I can do partial stacks. So I can see how the imaging session's going before completing it. Excuse me. So oh yes, that's done the denoise. Okay. So let's look what would happen if we go for our normal stretching method. So we try and do it this way. So we normally stretch. That's our initial stretch. We want to try and pick off a bit so we can then something like that. Shift the black point down. So we're not clipping any data. So that's what it will look like if I've stretched it manually. So let's just copy, save that, M45, manual stretch. Save that. Still don't think that looks terrible, even though I've mistakenly put an auto, was stretching it during with an auto stretch on. Let's go back. Let's try that again. Just try and get a bit of contrast in there. Let's apply that. Shift the black point down. And do a final linear stretch. Try and bring some of it back. something like that, and just add a bit of saturation in it, just to so that's not terrible. I think it's a little bit overstretched, I think. So it's a manual stretch, so then we go back, take the stretch off, and then run it with Verilux. I must admit, it does look good. That it's definitely got more of it in. So compare that to first manual stretch. Yeah, I haven't pulled as much of that out. And if you pull it onto manual stretch 2, I think it's too bright. Yeah, way too bright. And then if you pull it on the part process with Verilux, it is a very good stretch. The keep calling it Verilux, is it? Verilux. And there are some more scripts available for that, which we could have a look at some stage. Anyway, I think we will shut down the live stream now, and thank you very much everyone for watching. If you have watched, drop a comment, let me know if you want anything doing in the future. I'll do a quick review of the Quattro after a year, and how I feel it's gone, and see you very soon. Ciao for now.